Hello, welcome to the Joseph Evaldi podcast. I am your host, Joseph Evaldi. We stand tall despite defeat. Now, I am going to do something different with this podcast this time around. This is the New Year's, and I'm going to wrap up old projects, which means I'm going to use this as a year in review type of podcast for a forum, and I'm going to tie in with some stuff we're doing and we're going to bring to the network, and also what we're working on next year. So without further ado, let me get to the podcast. Hold on one second. Just having a problem with the laptop. Okay, good. I'm ready to be on. Now, pre-2008, we had a lot of Kindle books. We had the Joseph Evaldi podcast, some audio books. We were building our brand. However, we had treachery along the way. We had bad influences who were trying to ruin the Joseph Evaldi name and the Joseph Evaldi brand. It's true, it was treacherous. But we live, we learn. And then finally on 2018, January 1st, a little after the year began, in the kitchen of my home, with my parents and my soon-to-be girlfriend, we launched the rebrand. And that was how the year started. It was a monumental, and this is from my blog, the Joseph Evaldi brand blog on WordPress, December 2018, a year in review. And I'm going to read this quote by quote. January 1st, 2018. It was a monumental day for the brand, for the Joseph Evaldi brand, as it released a slogan. We stand tall despite defeat, hoping for one victory. We may have been beaten up and bruised a bit, but we were not broken. That was the campaign we ran. We took down the old banner and started anew. That same very day, and a neighboring brand, the Us Network, Ricky and Wolfman recorded their very first podcast on the Us Network. We took down the books that weren't selling and started anew. As a result, we started the rebrand. Rocky along the road, but it started. Now, January 1st, I had my ducks in a row. I had treachery, and I was still having treachery from them. I had bad influences in my life then of treacherous people claiming to be people that they weren't. And I wrote many posts on that. But later on in the year, I wasn't going to make my brand be known as the brand that complains about what other people are doing. I wanted my brand to be something new. So with that slogan being said, we stand tall despite defeat, hoping for one victory. It was basically a moniker of where we were going. Now, we wouldn't be discouraged from defeat. We wouldn't be discouraged from the treacherous scammers who try to steal our money. We wouldn't be defeated no matter whatever obstacle we would be faced. And the hoping for one victory, well, it was a slogan to build those victories, which happened along the way. At that time and place, I was looking for a better year, which too shall come to pass. Meaning, a better year to come, and a better year to begin. Then, in January 2018 through March 2018, with the help of my friend Richard Andrew Olkus, who is a friend of the brand, he lent the services of Timeless Cricket and also Kurt to do the Slow Mo Joe's Poetry Show and the Totem Wolf and Bearheart podcasts. It was a promising year. The brand began with a few new shows, but business was about to pick up as later. April through June 2018. It was a year where time period of treachery was ending. Emotionally, I was going through a lot, but I persevered and got stronger as the year went on. I was tampering around with projects, not really getting my foot on the ground, but I was working towards bettering it and finding myself and finding the project that would lead me home, so to speak. Then July 2018 happened, and I will quote this from that very same blog that I mentioned on the Joseph Evaldi brand on WordPress. And I say, I quote, it says, I quote, in July 2018, the birth of the project, the Book of Seasons, the journey through the years cycle was born. His first passionate project that he had since The Evolution of the Squared Circle, the production of professional wrestling. And he worked on it through to November. Now, that book of mine that came out, it was true. It was my first passionate project. I had the Kindle book on the Kindle, but I was going through a lot at the time. It is definitely my passion. Then I came up with another book earlier this year, which was basically the history of my breakup. Life after the breakup. But then things began. And this book project began then, and I was passionate about it. And I worked on it till finish. And I'm going to discuss a little bit more about it through. And this is a tape recording right now, or shall I say a computer recording. Because this is going to be a busy month for me, and right now it's December 11th, 2018, so I'm airing this in January 1st. I know a lot could happen in a span of 20 some days, but I'm going to air it anyway. August 2018. This very show, the Joseph Evaldi podcast, came back for some episodes, and a monumental event happened on this podcast. It had formally announced that the Ricky and Wolfman show would come to the network from the Ulcanus network. And also, a part of the deal, in order for them to come over, yesterday's news with Joe Vester and Curtis the Bear Hart would come to the network. Also, in that same month, the Joseph Evaldi Network on Spreaker announced that Spiritus Holographica would come to the network. It was a lot of behind the scenes stuff were happening before the launching of the season, and it was a start of something. September was basically a time to be in the Ulcanus Network studios and recording a lot of the shows. Also, something else monumental happened with the Joseph Evaldi brand publishing for Joseph Evaldi, me. That was the announcing of A Soul Warrior's Journey coming to audio, which means it would be available on Audible and iTunes. But the production of that began in September. Then October hit, and another thing happened with the network. It announced yet another show. Journal to the Dreamscapes.